Violoncello is the most user-friendly and the most versatile instrument of the entire violin family. What do I mean by this? Watch this video, especially if you are a Baroque or classical or chamber violinist or a violist, and if you want to add this depth of voice in your music. Here's what I mean. Violoncello was created in Italy in the 17th century, and throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, the first half of the 18th century, the size of violoncello was not standardized. What does that mean? That means that violoncellos were made in huge variety of sizes, so there were these big cellos, bigger than the modern day cellos, and then there were tiny instruments of that size approximately, and everything in between. So what does that mean to you as a musician? Practically, here's what it means. If you are a double bass player or a violone player and you have this experience and solid technique of playing large bass instruments vertically, you would pick a violoncello of a larger size, and probably you would want to play it vertically because this is your natural technique and this is your experience. And what does that mean also to you if you are a violinist? So let's say you are someone like Antonio Caldara, who was a violinist and violoncellist, da Spalla, and it is known that he was a violoncellist da Spalla at the Cathedral of St. Mark's in Venice. You would pick a violoncello of maybe a larger size than this, but you would pick a smaller violoncello and play it like the violin, suspended horizontally against your shoulder, and therefore the term violoncello da Spalla, although composers normally call this instrument simply violoncello. If you were someone like Johann Sebastian Bach, who was known to be a virtuoso violinist and violist, and it is not known that Johann Sebastian Bach also played the double bass or the violone. In that case, you would want to utilize your experience and your technique as a violinist, and in that case you would pick an instrument of this size, or approximately this size, and play it horizontally, suspended on a belt. And therefore the term violoncello da Spalla, although, as I mentioned earlier, composers normally never called it violoncello da Spalla, because da Spalla refers to the method of holding the instrument rather than to an instrument itself. I hope that makes sense. By the way, if you have any questions, you are very warmly welcome to ask them in the comments of this video. I hope you found some value in this knowledge, and I hope you can see the practical value in this knowledge. If you are a Baroque violinist anywhere in Europe or in the United States or in Asia, and you see and you are passionate about the revival of this lost musical culture and playing these basso parts. Now, what do I mean by violoncello is the most versatile instrument of the violin family? Here's what I mean. Violoncello is a bass instrument. Now listen to this, because this is vitally important. If you are a violinist or violist, it is very easy for you to miss this point. Violoncello is a basso instrument, it's a low sounding instrument, and violoncello da Spalla is tuned in the same range as the large violoncello. So that means that you can play the basso continuo parts. In the 17th and 18th century music is an ocean of beautiful repertoire, but you can also play all these incredible, flexible, expressive obbligato parts and solo parts on violoncello, which is something that you cannot do on the violin, normally speaking, because the violin is just the nature of the violin. It is a high-pitched instrument, and normally you do not play basso continuo on the violin except for a few exceptions, of course. So this is what I mean, that violoncello is the most universal, most versatile instrument of the entire family, because you can play the basso, and you can also play the accompanying parts, and you can also play as a soloist, as a chamber musician, as obbligato, and play also the obbligato parts. So I hope you got the two main points. Number one, violoncello da Spalla was normally known as violoncello, and it was made in a huge variety of sizes, and you were free to choose which size fits you best. Now, these days, musicians pick this instrument of this size because it is the most universal. There is maximum music you can play on this instrument. You can play the Italian cello sonatas and the Italian basso continuo, although the Italians most likely use much larger instruments, but you can also play Johann Sebastian Bach and even Romantic repertoire and even contemporary repertoire. You can also play the violin repertoire because we have also the E string on this instrument. Okay, you might be wondering, who am I and why you should be trusting anything I have to say about this instrument. I'm Dimitri, and I'm the author of the book on fine violin making, and in the past 30 plus years I've been specializing in crafting instruments of the violin family for musicians from anywhere in the world. And I'm also the author of the book on the Spalla, how violinists can find their unique voice and open new career opportunities in 14 days. And in the past almost 20 years I've been specializing in crafting these instruments for freelance, independent, self-employed, self-managed classical and chamber and Baroque musicians, violinists and violists, and also composers. So if you have any questions, do comment, do ask in the comments of this video, and don't forget to give me some thumbs up, show some appreciation if you found some value in some practical value, or at least cultural value in this knowledge. And do share this video with your colleagues, with your friends, with your funds, with your employer, promoters, agents, festivals, especially if you are a Baroque violinist and you are inspired by expanding your musical life, by adding this new instrument in your life. Then definitely spread the word, because we need more people like you, like us, who are passionate about keeping this musical culture alive, because without people who care, there's absolutely no chance that this musical culture can last. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can see some value in sharing your passion and your knowledge. With that said, I wish you massive success, and one more time, do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you found some value in this instrument. If you found some value in the knowledge that I'm sharing with you, then subscribe to my channel, click the bell button to make sure that you do not miss future content. Then like, comment, share this video, and I'm really looking forward to connecting with you in the next video. I wish you massive success.